What I love to do is introduce the right people to the right people, assemble the smartest people I can think of or reach out to carry that conversation, and that's exactly what I've done today.
Please give my panel a round of applause. Welcome.
All right, what's up, guys? Jay Martin here, CEO of Cambridge House, and right now I'm joined by Florian Grummes. He's an independent precious metals and Bitcoin analyst, trader, and investor. Florian, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Jay.
No, I'm excited to have you on the show and pick your brain a little bit. I've been watching a lot of your interviews, so I'm excited to talk to you. Now, for anybody who's unfamiliar, though, Florian, why don't you open up just with the elevator pitch? Who are you and what do you focus on? How do you spend your day?
Well, I'm the managing director and founder of Midas Consulting. So we're an independent research and analysis company from Germany. I'm working together with my partner, Kobe, from Los Angeles, and we're focusing on precious metals and cryptocurrencies for quite some time already. I'm into precious metals for 20 years and more or less 8.5 years into Bitcoin and crypto. And we run a large Telegram channel. We have a lot of free research available. We have weekly chart books on silver, on Bitcoin, in-depth analysis on gold. And yeah, we really have a mission of helping people because trading and investing is very difficult. And usually people just selling something to you without really trying to help you. So most of our stuff is free and we want to help you. That's basically our mission.
That's a good mission. I like it. Okay. So talk to me then about the sentiment in your audience right now, Florian. What are you hearing most about from the investors that you talk to? Do people want to know, where's sentiment driving right now? Is it dominantly gold, silver, or Bitcoin? Those are the three that you touched on in your opener there.
We have a very mixed kind of audience. So we have the old school classical gold bug kind of guy. And then we have also the Bitcoin and crypto freak or young nerd, if you want. It's a very mixed kind of audience, so it's hard to say if there is a general kind of sentiment. But obviously, over the last few months, Bitcoin and the altcoins, the DeFi sector, has been the main topic where you could make a lot of money, while the precious metals sector is in a correction, obviously. And it's not yet clear if we've seen the bottom maybe today or it will happen in the next few days. Sentiment is always shifting, and it's a very interesting observation, actually. If you have a large Telegram channel and lots of people basically open up themselves and honestly report how they feel about the market, what's going on, and you can actually learn a lot about sentiment. I think generally sentiment is one of the strongest forms of analyzing the market, huh? And if you have a real-time kind of finger on it, it's great.
Yeah. Oh man, I completely agree with you. It's very much my philosophy, right? I get to have conversations like this for a living. I write a newsletter, and I have the opportunity to talk to so many investors. Sentiment is one of the most important driving forces that helps me determine where I'm going to focus my time, talking about industry versus industry. So yeah, Bitcoin rallying like crazy, gold in a correction right now. Let's start with Bitcoin then, Florian. Talk to me about what you're doing. Are you purchasing right now? Are you on the sidelines? What are you doing right now?
I'm buying every pullback. So
okay.
I'm a hodler. I bought my first Bitcoin in 2013. Of course, I sold many of those way too early. And I made, obviously, quite a lot of mistakes also over the last 8 years. If I look back, if I would have known that we are trading at around 50K nowadays, obviously, I would have done many things differently. But anyway, it's all good. It's a super exciting journey. And I think maybe since latest last year, maybe 2 years ago, I'm really persuaded and see clear that I just want to hold on to as much Bitcoin as I can. So I'm not trading or selling out of it. All I do is hedging them from time to time if I have the feeling the price maybe has run too much to the upside. But you just want to hold on and as you can buy more on every pullback. I'm strongly convinced that this thing is going much higher, and there's a very good chance that at some point it will become maybe the world reserve currency.
Interesting. Okay, I want to dive into that because there's a few reasons you would buy Bitcoin, right? The speculation reason, the price is going to go up. So yes, buy it now with the intention of liquidating at a future predetermined price, however you think about it. But the second is that this could be competitive one day as a world reserve currency. And if that's the case, you just want to have some and hold it and have it for when that event occurs. And are you in one camp or the other, or one foot in each? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, nobody knows the future, obviously. And if I would have known 8-9 years ago where it goes today, so of course I would have kept and hold on to all of them. But I think there's a good chance. You see the evolution of this new asset class is just mind-staggering, and it's so fast. And yet again, if you're really honest, it was very simple. You just needed to buy at some point and hold on to until today, right? But it's at the same time so difficult for most of the people. So you're always tempted to take profits, or you think it's been running way too far already. But then again, I mean, we are clearly in a bull run in Bitcoin right now. I think that should be clear since the breakout above the all-time high at 20K in December. And from the past, we know that those bull runs usually go much further than anybody can expect or imagine. So if it would repeat something similar like we've seen in the last bull run between 2016 and 17, Bitcoin could go to maybe 300K in that bull run. So from today, that's still 6 times your money. And yes, at some point you will have a big correction, crypto winter, a bear market maybe. But I don't think we're there yet. And so the job for now is to buy the pullbacks. And we just had a nice pullback towards 43K. Yeah. Maybe we haven't seen the lows yet. I could still imagine maybe 37, 35, but it doesn't have to go there anymore. I think the volatility in terms of the pullbacks is getting smaller. So compared to earlier bull runs, the last one, we had typically pullbacks of 30 to 38%. Now it might be enough already to 25 to 30% pullbacks. Okay. So, and you see how fast this is recovering. I mean, it goes to 43 2 days ago. Now, today we were quickly touching nearly 50K again. So it's like 20% in 2-3 days. You want to hold on to it. Don't make it too complicated. I also think that one thing that is really important and that most people always make it wrong or make it too complicated, you can buy in small positions. You don't have to make a big decision out of it. Should I invest 20K? Should I invest 50K? Should I put everything? No, of course you don't do. But start like I did. I mean, I started with $50 in 2013. And once I got more confidence, then I increased my investments basically. And I meet so many people who make it such a mind game and thinking about should I put 20K, 50K, 100K, whatever, all they have. And this is not the right approach. Make it small, put limits, low limits in form of a pullback because this market is moving so fast. And it's always also a psychological challenge. So the last few days, Bitcoin pulls back and then you have to make the decision. Should I buy? Should I sell? Should I do nothing? Should I hold on? No, I'm not doing this. So I always have limits in the market. I'm not a guy who's making decisions in the moment. I always have low limits and just wait. Maybe the market comes by and fills them. And if not, it's okay too, because there's always new opportunities. So I think that's a very important attitude, or it can be very successful because most people are trying to make a decision in the moment, and that's too much information to process.
Yeah, 100%.
Very quickly overwhelmed.
I think that's great advice. I mean, what you're saying essentially is, you've got a strategy and you stick to it, right? And you have your rules and you stick to them. And if you miss an opportunity as a consequence, you don't get the price that you're sitting on, whatever, more opportunities come, right? There's a new bus every 15 minutes. I mean, that's like the most important rule or lesson you can learn as an investor, that there's a new bus every 15 minutes, and just patient. Develop your rules, stick to them. Making rules is easy, sticking to them's hard. But with practice and usually a lot of hard lessons, it occurs. Okay, a couple threads I want to pull in there. You mentioned a price forecast for Bitcoin. I don't harp on these too hard because no one's predicting the future, but I've heard you say 300K, 320K in the past and, previous interviews. You also said, there's probably going to be another Bitcoin winter, right? A large scale pullback that will be prolonged. What I want to, and again, no one can time it, Florian, but are there things that you're going to be looking for? Like, are you thinking about that right now? Here's what I'm going to be looking for. And when I start seeing these signals, I'll know we're close. Does anything come to mind?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned sentiment in the beginning already. So obviously there is a few mainstream sentiment indicators that you want to look out for and then do the opposite. Also, we just recently seen it. I mean, many of the altcoins exploded over the last few weeks, and you could see like there was kind of an order, like the best ones exploded first, and then the not so good ones exploded over the last 2 weeks, and then there was a top in Bitcoin. So something like this is also typical. So once you see that there is an altcoin season, it usually means that we're getting close to a top in Bitcoin. And if it's the final top of this bull run, you will obviously see lots of little small coins who don't have good fundamentals really explode. So that would be also, for example, a warning signal.
Would that be sort of reminiscent of what we saw at the tail end of 2017 from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, back then Bitcoin had topped already, and then many of those kind of shit coins exploded over 2-3 weeks, and then that's it. And then we went into the crypto winter. So you want to look out for that. You want to look out also for divergences between, with the Bitcoin dominance, and you want to look for divergences between Bitcoin and Ethereum, I think. But this is all still, I believe, at least a few months away from us. So in my kind of like outlook right now, I guess this bull run could easily run until end of this year. But I assume next year we're going to see a larger correction or bear market. So, and then it's the big question: do you really want to hodl with all your coins through that? And I can only say no, you don't want to. Then it's time. You have to take some profits, and you have to have a strategy of how you scale out. So what we, for example, have is a very nice strategy. It's called the quad exit strategy, where basically we quickly take 25 to 50% off from a position once it goes in the right direction. And then we have another target where we take off 25%. And the last 25% is basically free money, because you took out not only your initial investment, but also profits. So the last 25% is free, and you can let this run as far as possible. And then the psychological situation for you is much easier to handle. And that's a very successful approach, actually. And that's what I personally do. So, and then it's also easy at some point when you see that the market turned around, you can really quickly close those positions.
Okay, so talking about that though, because I'm all for it. Investors should never feel bad about taking profits. So frequently I talk to somebody like, I sold and, sold Bitcoin at 13,000, whatever. And I'm like, well, you made a lot of money if you depending on where you got in there. So don't ever feel bad about taking profits, but how do you cycle your profits, Florian? So you sell 25, 50% of your Bitcoin position. I mean, I can't imagine. Are you going to euros, or are you going to gold? You going to dollars? Where do you go?
Yeah, I mean, right now I go back into the cryptos, of course. But if this bull run finishes, I want to go in gold and silver.
Gold and silver.
I'm not interested in dollars and euros anymore.
Right.
I really measure my net worth in Bitcoins and in gold, and it gives you a completely different perspective.
Okay, well, I
think it's very important, because many people still underestimate this power of Bitcoin in terms of your net worth. It looks completely different if you look at it in Bitcoin over the last few months. So for everybody who holds holds Bitcoin, everything has become much cheaper. So it's important to take that perspective also. We all know that they print dollars and euros unprecedentedly. So I assume that this just continues. What do I want with those? I mean, you need to pay your daily bills, of course, but other than that, I don't want to hoard those fiat currencies. Certainly not.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just lifestyle chips for the time being, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's use that as a segue. Gold and silver, the other assets that you look at currently correcting pretty aggressively. So what's going through your mind right now? Are we in for a bit of a pause here? Is this consolidation? Gold's down to like 1,700 at current. I haven't looked in the last little bit, but talk to me about what you're seeing, Florian.
No, I mean, we are already 7 months into that correction. And I assume that we are in a gold or precious metals bull market. So at some point, we should see new all-time highs in gold. It's probably just a question of time. And what we've seen over the last 7 months is a very healthy, normal correction. I mean, you have to remember that gold went from 1160 to 2075 within 2 years, 80% up. That's a big move for precious metals. Of course, crypto guys are laughing about it, but for the old school 5,000-year-old traditional gold market, it's a big move. And so this takes time to digest. And we've seen it so many times. Once the sentiment is too euphoric and too overly optimistic, then something happens and the market has to correct. And now it's been 7 months since the all-time high. We're down $375 or something like this. So I think the correction is more or less done. Maybe we have a little bit more downside, but I'm getting more and more interested. I mean, if you look at the mining stocks, like the really good ones, the big ones, they are all beaten down. The sentiment numbers, I've seen a chart today from Ronnie Stöffele. I mean, he's been writing like 10-year sentiment low at least. So the sector is really getting interesting again from a contrarian perspective. If you look at the really good big companies, I mean, the fundamentals are wonderful. They're all making cash at those levels at gold 1,700, 1,800. Many of them are now paying dividends. So I think it's super exciting. It's the time to really look very closely at that sector and start buying into those big mining stocks. And obviously also the smaller, the juniors and the explorers will become interesting again, because I think now in the next uptrend that will start maybe in the next few days or weeks or latest by summer, those big mining companies, they will need to look for new projects to add resources and reserves. So they will be on the hunt for the smaller juniors and explorers. So it's going to be very exciting. And overall, on top of that, I think we are in a commodity bull market anyway. So I think now is the time to be really bullish again on gold after this correction. I think we're probably very close to the lows. Maybe we've seen it yesterday at 1,707. Let's see, maybe we have one more pullback towards, I would say, 1,660, 1,680, maybe that range. But I think it looks very promising from a contrarian point of view.
Right. And so you've also made a price call in gold. I heard you again on Kitco calling for 9,000-ish. You said 8,000 to 9,000 was what you said. And it was pretty vague. Time horizon was a few years, could be 4, 5, 6 years, I think, was, to take the words that you said. So yeah, loosely, but optimistic and very, very bullish. I guess my question for you, Florian, is that's less exciting if you're just looking at two asset classes like $320,000 Bitcoin, $9,000 gold. You'd say, well, okay, one's far more exciting than the other. But so my question isn't which price do we get to first? My question would be, which price are you more confident in?
Okay. Wow, that's a good question, actually. I think I would be more confident right now in Bitcoin reaching 300K.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, you said it already before. All these price forecasts, I mean, they are nice and people want to hear some numbers.
Yeah.
But they are also misleading, I mean, nobody knows exactly where the top will be in Bitcoin in that bull run, and nobody knows exactly where gold will be in a few years. It's kind of a mind game, and it's kind of an idea of where these markets could go. Will you be able to sit through on your gold from today until $9,000? I guess you will only be able to sit through with physical gold. If you have a mining stock, it will be a quite volatile ride. And if you trade it with leverage, I mean, forget it. You have no chance to get to 9,000 from today without selling or getting kicked out earlier. So it's a good idea to have a sort of a vision or understand the bigger picture. But then again, be careful with these big numbers. I mean, people want to hear it, but I think it's more interesting. First of all, now we have what I just explained. I think from the timing is very interesting. The gold market again, it's really a contrarian market again. I think one of the few that you will find out there, probably the only one at the moment. And sentiment is always, as you said in the beginning, one of the most important things. And so be careful with these big numbers. It's kind of like not focus too much on it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I appreciate that sense of modesty or realism. Okay, Florian, it's been awesome having you on. I'm so glad that we did this and finally got to meet you, introduce you to our audience, get a few questions in front of you. So thanks for your time, and I'd love to do it again sometime.
Thank you very much, Jay. It was a pleasure. Thanks a lot.